All right. This is the Dupel Phareser. So this is Iontophoresis, and I put it right up there. Probably one of my second favorite things as far as being very effective, especially when it's a very pinpoint type of a problem. You know, it could be lateral epicondylitis. You could have plantar fasciitis. You know, something like it's really pinpoint that is the problem, and you really want it to quiet down. So it's just very effective. The problem with this is insurance just quit paying for the drug, and the drug was dexamethasone that we use by far the most. But a lot of facilities are continuing to use iontophoresis because they know it's effective, and they are just kind of absorbing the cost of the dexamethasone. So dexamethasone is a drug that you would get from your pharmacy, and so they might have it on file or on in a shelf, but it does have kind of a shelf life, and so it's something that can't stay there forever. But anything that you use with the iontophoresis has to carry a charge, and you have to know that drugs charge. And so the drugs that are used, it could be acetic acid, it could be iodine, it could be tap water, it could be we could use a variety of things, the lidocaine, things like. You have to know what the drug is, because the principle is that we're just going to repel two like charges are going to repel that the medication into the target tissue. And dexamethasone is a negative charged drug, so you are going to put the negative electrode, basically lead, over where the patch is with the drug. And that's what we have to go through. It's a very simple machine to use, incredibly easy. So this is, I'll have you kind of switch over here and take a look, but you just open this up. We're going to hit the on button. One of the things when you're reading in the book, it'll say milliamp dosage, and you know, honestly, it's a range between 20 and 80. Most of the time we set this up as 40, and so when we set it up at 40, it's already set. You can see this. I can go down, you can see where it's going up and down. So that milliamp dosage basically is, it's an assumption how much of the drug that we're going to use. It's a lot easier when you just look at, this is the patch that we're going to put on. You just have to put enough so it's not dripping on this part, on the soft part, but you can't make it so it's also not too dry. That would be like your Green Mile. You don't have enough again, fluid in there. So you just want to really put as much in there as you can. And again, we're going to use tap water, but we're going to pretend it's dexamethasone. So this is basically high volt. You can see this patch is much bigger than this, but this is the only part that's actually being, the E-stem's going through. So then, based on what high volt or direct current is, your dispersive pad is at least twice that size. So they shouldn't feel too much with that. So I'll place this again, like we're doing the VMO, and you can probably tell maybe I used a permanent marker. I don't know. And this typically can just be placed somewhere it's easy to get to. I'm going to put, like I said, this is tap water, which who knows what the charge is. We're on a well out here. It could be dead people in it. Who knows? So, but we're gonna put this on, and we're gonna pretend that's Dex, and we're gonna go same thing right over the VMO. So it's not dripping, that type of thing. So I'm going to take the negative lead, just clamp it onto the active electrode. It's just a little clamp. That's why I'm not an OT. And then there. So now we've completed circuit. I've got it at 40 milliamp dosage. Typically in the clinic, you know, you have current milliamp dosage, and then you have time. And most of the time they set this up so the patient will be done in 10 minutes. It might be the last thing they do before they leave. 10 minutes usually works out, but if it doesn't, you'll know, because after you check this 2 or 3 minutes into it, the skin doesn't look good. It's much redder than it should be. But basically, you're going to have to slow this down. So all you do in slowing it down is you just change one of the parameters. So you would change it from 4 milliamps, which is our intensity, to 2 milliamps, and that would just double the time. So instead of 10 minutes, because this thing will start to count down the time, it'll take 20 minutes, and that's fine. You just have to experiment with that to begin with, but you have to kind of plan for that if it's going to take 20 minutes, which you thought was going to be 10 minutes for the next treatment time. So if you look at the top, you have basically S1, S2. That would be if we're going to use 2. S2 would be another lead and another setup. So we're on S1, and then you go to P, and that P, if you can see that up there, might be hard. But then I'm going to turn this up to 4. That's the current. So P stands for basically the intensity. So you can see I'm at 4. And now we're set. We're good to go. All we have to do is hit one more button over there, and that's on run. And this machine, if it's something messed up, you don't have enough fluid, it'll let you know. It'll beep. But I can feel it. It's like little pins and needles. I don't know why I always think of Kristen Holbrook going, I'm done with this. I'm done with this right now. Probably Tabitha too. But so you can see how it's counting. And boom, we're going to go. It's going to keep going until we run across the total milliamp dosage. So it's going to count up till we get to that. So it's pretty simple. I think, with some calcification that you get with athletes, you have a great opportunity to put this right over the top and kind of break that up. It kind of basically softens it up with some of that drug intervention. But again, the setup is incredibly easy. The DEX itself is you're going to have to get it hopefully to the facility if they don't have it through a pharmacist, and it's one of those where you'll probably do it almost like ultrasound 3 to 5 times. You should have some pretty good results with that, especially like if you're doing lateral epicondylitis. You should notice pretty significantly a lot less tender to touch after you've done 3, 4, 5 of these, that type of thing. I love it. It's a great modality, very, very simple to use. I mean, the techs were taught how to use this very quickly. So it's very pinpoint. Obviously, you're going right over the target tissue, which again is an ideal way. That's the difference between just straight up classic IFC or E-stem, when you have these 2 electrodes that are away from the target tissue and you're trying to manipulate the depth to the area that's really inflamed. When in this case we go right over the top. There's no way we can mess this up. So Ionto is there. So those 3 cryokinetics, I'll probably try to put something up with that. I don't know, in the future we'll figure that out, but I'm not sure Ionto the PDF file is on yet, but I will make sure it's up there. Again, I mentioned before that I will post have that ready to go 8 o'clock on that 21st, I think it is, that you can start taking that test. And it's designed for basically comprehensive. It'll have ultrasound in there. It'll have iontophoresis in there. It's just comprehensive. But I looked at 450 questions, and it was hard to find 30 questions. And so that's considered non-systems domain on the boards. And typically you'll see some TANs and ultrasound for sure in an Ionto, but it's definitely not a huge amount of test questions. But they are clinic-based, which you are. Some of you have mentioned you've already been exposed to some of this stuff, which was great. And hopefully, like I said, when we all get back together this summer, we'll be able to do a lot of lab time with that. So, all right, that's where we're at. Stay safe.